time.
Right.
That it had literally...
Isn't that just amazing?
It's ridiculous. I mean, come on. Like
the hubristic paternalism is just off the charts. It's just, well, we need to decide for you how you can best spend your money.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I just...
Unreal.
It's just like, regarding the IRS, it's like when they catch drug dealers or, middle class kingpins, per se, that have nice cars or like a couple of houses.
Right.
And it's, and then they just confiscate it and take it away, over tax evasion. And it's like, you mean to tell me that's the wealth I could accrue if I didn't pay taxes? I could live like a poor rap star.
Right.
Right. Essentially, I mean, if you have the right connections, you can, make sure that you avoid scrutiny.
Or how about all the allegations by all the the financial geeks that can't figure out why the Dow closed the exact same decimal point 10 times out day over day, that they can't figure out. They say, oh, Bitcoin cryptocurrency, it enables drug dealers and terrorists and all these other people. They don't understand what function fiat money has provided.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many stories you can look at if you search the news for like between 2002 to now, like since the Iraq war started, all the instances where these various proxy armies were provided pallets of cash or electronic debiting of monies or stacks of gold.
Right.
It's not like those instruments aren't used for those same criminal enterprises either.
It occurs 100-fold
it's a
on
total...
the fiat currency.
Right.
The only difference is that power is not centralized in the same manner.
Right. So they can't see exactly in the ease of fashion that they prefer regarding how the transactions are allocated, who's connecting which funds where, and all that. So it's like we have to stigmatize this because it's an inconvenience to our monopoly grid.
Right.
And it's so obvious that that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and they got some very high IQ people working on that.
Sure. I mean, at the end of the day, if you can tar and feather it as just something that lowlifes participate in, you can convince most people that are in their pension funds and IRAs and 401ks to just stay there while they rate it, basically. While they use inflation to erode their money gradually and boil the pot slowly. And that's what they're counting on, is that people don't look to these other instruments as a way of liberating their money supply, but rather see it as a fringe, problem that only, bad people do. And they do that with the term conspiracy theorists. I mean,
right.
That was their big, now it's, hate speech or
flat earther.
Flat earther. Or,
sure.
Whatever it may be. There's all these assortment of terms.
But it was someone at Deutsche Bank who made a publication within the month, or is it in October? But in the event of a financial collapse, that gold could be used as a means of a financial reset, which is very interesting to hear a banker say that, because that's literally what the tinfoil hats have seemingly been saying for ages and era. It
remains
all the
to be
gold bugs.
seen how that would happen though logistically, because central banks hold so much of it.
But do they really?
I mean, how many gold bars do you or me have? Like, compared to, I think most of it's all locked up and.
I suppose. I mean, a lot of it allegedly is in national parks and
well, that's true. I mean, as far as underground supplies
offhand exchanges, I could say the same thing about the number of cars that I possess.
But if we were to return to a gold standard, nobody has, very, very few people have any savings in it. So how would they get it from those places to their pocket to actually use it?
I mean, the volatility would just be ridiculous. The market would have to come to a consensus on what they purport to be the total finite amount of gold in circulation at any given time.
I tend to agree with Bix that in one of these very volatile situations, silver is probably a better thing for the average person to use as a medium of exchange, in addition to cryptocurrencies, if we have the electric grid, because many people still do have at least like silverware or stuff like that. But he also says that, number one, there's probably more gold than there is silver, because there's all these like unknown quantities that are above ground. But also much of the silver that has been mined, it's been consumed in like little tiny electronics. So it just goes into junkyards and it's not actually like fungible. It's not like, you don't have it in coinage, and it would be very costly and expensive and toxic to retrieve in that manner. And he said the industrial applications of silver are actually far surpass gold when you look at like electronics, LCDs, solar panels, all this industrial activity that needs silver versus gold. So I think he makes a pretty strong argument for that. But it's kind of up for debate. What's going to be used?
As long as the dollar can be used to, protect the market.
The military-backed dollar. I think we're going to be in a post-dollar world.
So,
within probably 10 to 12 years.
Long?
I think they're going to fight long and hard.
Yeah.
And it's going to take forever to take down the Federal Reserve and the IRS.
Yeah.
10 to 12 years
but,
is optimistic.
I mean, forever, it's been a little over 100 years.
I know, and they are at the precipice, especially with these manipulated, painted charts and stuff that they're doing with the major indices.
Yeah.
It's just at the point where it's just like this... hum-de-dum, like maybe I'll just keep going higher.
It's a matter, dude.
I think it'll happen sooner.
It's
I think
a matter
it'll happen much sooner.
The dollar will be nixed. I think that the dollar could be nixed, but that these legacy financial systems will still probably be in place for a while. I think that they might switch to something like an Amero that is like a crypto Ripple type coin, and then that becomes denominated with banks, and the banks could easily just adopt this digital currency and substitute it for bank ledgers and debt amounts and everything. And it's like these legacy systems are still going to be in place, but they're going to be using a digital sort of mask, a digital currency mask, to hide their ongoing fraud.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I hope it doesn't. That's my prediction.
When you have Mark Zuckerberg in front of Congress talking about the Libra, I liken it to, I guess, what Franklin Roosevelt did in 1933 when they made it illegal to hoard gold, right? And they confiscated the gold, and to their claim, it was because it left them without the capacity to issue adequate liquidity to deal with the financial crisis, which was, again, a result of their own monetary policy. So, and not to mention, centralizing a cryptocurrency is completely antithetical to why you would have a cryptocurrency. And to Big, again, coming back to Big Swear's point, something that Alan Greenspan did before he stepped down from Fed chair in 2007 is, unless I'm mistaken, is Glass-Steagall was replaced, right?
It was repealed.
It was repealed. Well, it was replaced with something else. Was that 2007 when he stepped down, or was that during the?